Good evening and live from the Gambia radio and television services. This is GRTS News with me, Winifred Nicole. In the headlines this evening, the International Monetary Fund gives an optimistic assessment of the Gambia economy despite the challenges faced by the post-pandemic recovery efforts and the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe. Visiting U.S. Ambassador at Large Beth Van Sage hails the Gambia's transition justice process. Trust Bank celebrates 25 years of excellence in the financial sector with a colorful Silver Jubilee reception for its customers. Away from home, Iran's supreme leader accuses U.S. Israel of being behind the nationwide protests. Well, that's the top of the news and much more coming up with me, Winifred Nicole. Many thanks for joining us. The International Monetary Fund has given an optimistic assessment of the Gambia economy despite the challenges faced by the post-pandemic recovery efforts and the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe. This was revealed by the Deputy Chief of Mission at the IMF Africa Department, who is on a review of the ongoing extended credit facility for the Gambia. Mamadou Jallo has more on that.
Officials from the International Monetary Fund met the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, to brief him on the conclusions of their fifth review of a government program supported by the fund under the extended credit facility. Speaking to GRTS after the closed-door meeting, the head of the mission, Ivo Hasina Razami Faheva, gave an optimistic assessment of the economy, which he said is on the path to recovery despite challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war.
We see that there is a recovery of economic activity. For instance, the number of arrivals of tourism is increasing. Not the same as before the pandemic yet, but it is recovering. And also, we can see that the construction sector is continuing. But also, we expect good agricultural production also this year, thanks to the good rainfall, despite the flood that the country experienced recently.
The IMF mission chief, however, acknowledged that inflation has increased, but attributed this to external factors which are beyond the control of the government.
We can see that inflation, meaning prices, are going up quite rapidly. Unfortunately, that increase is mostly due to exogenous factors, meaning external factors that are outside the control of the Gambian authorities. And the main drivers and the main reasons for this high inflation is the increase in the fuel price at the global level, but also the increase in the food price at the global level.
The IMF, however, believes that the economy is on the path to recovery after government took steps to contain inflation and reduce the pump price of fuel.
We are discussing with the central bank, with CBG, so that at least we can help maintain at least contain the increase of inflation.
These measures, he concluded, will cushion the shocks on the economy in the longer term. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS.
The U.S. Ambassador at Large, Ambassador Beth Van Sage, who is on a visit in the country, has hailed the Gambia's significant strides in its transitional justice process following the release of the government's white paper on TRRC recommendations. Its implementation, according to Ambassador Beth, requires a holistic approach in which partnership is key in meeting the desired objectives. The visiting U.S. diplomat was speaking to GRTS's Isatou Keita in an interview as she outlines areas in which the U.S. assistance can come in.
Effective justice for atrocities and human rights abuses strengthen democratic societies?
Yeah, it's such an important question. Before I became an academic, before I became a diplomat, I was an academic. And I studied a number of societies in transition. And what this research shows is that if societies do not adequately and fully address a history of either violence or repression, they are at risk of repeating that. That is one of the strongest factors that show a repetition of violence. And so it's extremely important that any countries that are emerging from a period of armed conflict or of repression, state repression, that they find and address the needs of the victims and of the survivors, and that they put in place a justice process that feels fair and inclusive for the society to then establish the rule of law and all of the foundations that are necessary for a vibrant democracy to flourish.
Okay, so when you look at it from a broader perspective, transitional justice envelops a broad range of structures from justice to reconciliation. So what can the U.S. do to support capacity for implementation, which is currently undermined by funding challenges?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Transitional justice embodies a whole range of responses that states can utilize. This includes justice broadly defined, so that can be criminal justice, which is criminal accountability, critical, but also forms of restorative justice that seek to rehabilitate the victims. So this includes psychosocial rehabilitation, reparations, whether individual or collective or symbolic. It includes a truth-telling process, which you've had with your TRRC, and also it includes guarantees of non-repetition. So putting in place those legal reforms that will ensure that the society does not slide back into violence or repression. So all of those are key pillars of any transitional justice process. And I know that the international community is watching very carefully the process that is now unfolding here in the Gambia, and the United States with other partner states I know stand ready to be of assistance.
So when we look at it, the Gambia achieved significant headway in the completing the first phase of its transitional justice process. So what's the framework of the U.S. assistance to boost existing gains that have led to government-wide paper on the recommendations of the Truth Commission?
Yeah, thank you. I actually really like the way you framed that question, because you've identified the fact that it's a first phase. The TRRC process and the government white paper that followed are extremely important to lay the foundation for a full transition and an implementation of a range of justice measures. But that's the beginning of a process. It's not the end of a process. And I think the key challenge now is implementation of the very important recommendations that were contained within the TRRC report. And that's going to require hard work on everybody's part. So these recommendations are multi-sectoral. They're addressed to different elements of the government. They're going to require these different elements to take ownership of those recommendations, be accountable to how those recommendations are being implemented, and communicate with the populace to show that they're making progress. And so people see transitional justice being done. And I think the international community can be of assistance, particularly if there are technical questions that arise in how to create, for example, a fair reparations process that recognizes that there aren't vast resources available, or that can help on the due process side to make sure that any criminal prosecutions are scrupulously fair to individuals who are being prosecuted. There's lots of ways I think that we can be of assistance, but ultimately this is a process that belongs to Gambia, it belongs to the Gambians, to government, to civil society, and to ordinary people, and they all need to be engaged in this.
Well, moving on, the National Health Insurance Authority, through the Ministry of Health, is embarking on a 3-day development of health benefits package for the National Health Insurance Scheme. The convergence brought together medical and health experts at the Sadauda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center in Bijilo. Usman Mane picks up the rest of that story.
National Insurance Scheme is a challenging initiative for national governments to provide care to majority of its population, especially developing countries. Following the enactment of the National Health Insurance Act by the National Assembly, the authority is established and now engaging medical and health experts to map out targeted diseases and service areas under the scheme. This development, coupled with the transformation of the health sector, will accelerate efforts to meet the Sustainable Development Goals 2030, according to Health Minister Dr. Amadou Lamin Samate.
The essence of the whole exercise is actually so that the people of this country get universal health coverage, because, as we say, health is a human right, but it's a human right that is expensive for countries, especially low-income countries. But of course, government insists that quality health services must be provided for the people. In our efforts to get to the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, universal health coverage being amongst them, we think the health insurance scheme is a must.
The World Health Organization is a major partner supporting the country's development agenda. Its country representative, Dr. Desta Tiruni, advised participants to vigorously look at the benefits package in line with available resources in service delivery.
To start small and expand gradually as our capacity, gets better and better, because the resource envelope is limited. There is a limit. I know all of us are coming from different expertise. We have different concerns. We would all like to have the best.
The board chairman of the National Health Insurance Authority, Melvin George Roberts, emphasized on health promotion to reduce the burden of services.
The greatest cost, highest cost for services is the curative services in any healthcare package, because that's why it consumes. You have inpatient services, you have to provide medication, people have to stay in hospitals, they have to do surgery. So it's very expensive, and that can kill any health insurance scheme. So that's why health promotion, we start with it, irrespective of where you are. We don't want you to get sick to come to get those curative services.
The health minister assured government's readiness to weather the storm in the implementation of the scheme.
The government of the Gambia is highly committed to the sustainability of this scheme. That is why government has actually committed a whole lot of resources, including revenue from the tobacco tax, revenue from coal termination, the telecom coal termination, revenue from the Senegambia bridge. Percentages of these revenue sources will be committed to the National Health Insurance Scheme. So at the end of the day, government's total contribution to the National Health Insurance Scheme or to health in general is likely to be above the Abuja Declaration of 15%.
The scheme will be available to both the public and private health facilities, and this, according to Dr. Samate, will create competition and promote quality services. The registration of the National Health Scheme, which began in August, will run for 3 months, and once operational, will reduce out-of-pocket expenditure for health, according to officials. The outcome of the 3 days meeting will announce a number of benefits package that will be excluded from the scheme, a burden the Ministry of Health will have to face the public. Usman Mane, GRTS.
Well, staying with health matters, because the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the University of Oslo, have jointly held the 4th Health Research Conference, which brought together researchers and health workers across the country to conduct studies on various thematic health areas. Amanta E. Sanyang has more on that.
Strengthening the medical sector through research, the Ministry of Health collaborates with the University of Oslo to hold the 4th Health Research Conference. Identified as an important element in addressing medical issues, the 4th Health Research Conference ushered in tangible data covering broad aspects in maternal health, sexual and reproductive health, child health, diseases and health system.
Research is an important element of a health system as outlined by the World Health Organization. Research informs policy and practice for improved health outcomes. The Ministry of Health is cognizant of that fact, and in 1990 established a health research unit within the Directorate of Planning, and in 2014 upgraded this unit into a full-fledged research Public Health Research Directorate.
Bank under the theme Health Research for Improved Health Policy and Practice. The collaborative effort between the Ministry and the University of Oslo will help the health sector obtain requisite information in addressing health matters.
The groundbreaking study was the study that was done by Mamadi Cham, who's a co-organizer of this conference, who dedicated his master's and PhD studies to the issue of maternal health and maternal mortality, and has always been somebody who's worked very hard for using research results to improve the quality of care. And I think some of the work that has been done by Mamadi Cham and the other students have contributed to policy changes and actually practice changes in the Gambia over the years. And that's very close to my heart, because I think that we need to address the issues that are important and we need to save lives.
The result of what has been garnered will be utilized by the health sector in tackling current healthcare challenges.
Research is, as we said, is to cite what are the issues to inform policy and practice. A system that doesn't do research or doesn't feed from research is just gambling. And when we do research, you look at, it depends on the type of research you do, the findings could be used to influence policy and practice. And if you are a keen follower of the health system, there's a lot of transformation going on, and all is informed by research. Currently we have these acute kidney injuries. Still now, because of research is going on, we cannot give you conclusive, but we are just giving suspicious things. And because of research, we cannot say for sure this is the issue unless the findings are out. After this presentation, we will analyze the topics, the presentations, and write our report and share with the Minister of Health. Almost all the papers that are being presented here were research done in this country. And this range from maternal health, sexual and reproductive health, child health, diseases, and also health system challenges. And I think they are essential that we have these things to inform policy. Now that we are trying to introduce a new health policy, we can use these findings in our planning stage.
Serving as a focal point for all health research, the Ministry of Health Research Directorate will impart the findings of the research conducted whilst the country grapples with medical challenges. Experts believe these studies will avail the health personnel a more fitting approach towards current medical challenges. Aminat Sanyang, GRTS.
Now, 2 new youth centers have been inaugurated and handed over to beneficiary communities of the Tekifi program in the Central River region. By Ibrahim Cham has the rest of that story.
The Youth and Sports Minister, Bakari Baji, has presided over the inauguration and handing over ceremony of the newly built youth center in Kawur, funded by the IMVF through the Tekifi program. According to officials, various communities were competing to host the youth center. However, Kawur was lucky to win the bid. It's the first time in the history of the Central River Region North Settlement to have such a magnificent center for the youths. Minister Baji urged the community of Kawur to ensure that the facility is well kept and promised to fence the building. The Youth and Sports Minister also advised the people of Kawur to make the best use of the center by sharing ideas on skills training and other meaningful programs in order to contribute to the social-economic development of the community.
It's not just social activities. So you'll be able to do some capacity building trainings here. You'll be able to build life skills of young people who are here. But also we'll be able to have a place where young people, when they get bored in their homes or in the fields, they can come here and sit down and talk to each other and be able to exchange messages and share ideas about how best they can develop themselves, but also develop the community where they are.
According to the IMVF project coordinator, Joanna Martins, the edifice cost over $3 million, adding that the plan is to expand the building to include a lodge and other facilities.
Honorable Minister, we are glad to inform you that the youths of Kawur, they have already a 3 years strategic plan with a list of activities that they can implement from now on, activities that can be triggers of social encounters, but also triggers of income generation. And the plans are there. It's about coming to a round table and decide where do we want to start.
From Kawood, the delegation proceeded to the Central River Region South, where the Tekifi team also inaugurated a similar structure. According to officials, the project has invested at least $5 million in Bansang, including capacity building programs, soft loans, and other infrastructural developments.
One, I see the center as an important source of information for young people in all aspects of life, whether it's migration, whether it is reproductive health, whether it's any aspect of livelihood. I see the center as a useful, area for youth, for information for the youth. I also see the center as, as an opportunity where young people can learn about job opportunities across the country. I see the center as a place where young people can come to seek counseling and advice, as far as some of their daily, encounters are concerned.
The board chair of Bansang Youth Center, Abuba Sane, noted that the center will focus on youth-led activities and that his team is highly committed to implementing innovative ideas that will keep the youths focused on national development initiatives.
Bansang Youth Center is committed to actively provide youth-friendly services to the young people of this region and the entire Gambia at large, and raising the life quality of every young person in the Gambia.
The Tekifi program in the Gambia has left an incredible mark in creating employment opportunities for the youths and entrepreneurship programs, among others. However, the handing over of this youth center marks the formal closing of the Tekifi project in the community. Reporting for GRTS News, I'm by Ibrahim Chan.
The Regional Education Directorate, Central River Region North, with support from the United Nations World Food Programme, have organized an appreciation ceremony for the French government for supporting the school feeding programs in the Central River Region. Modulamin Sane tells us more.
This solemn occasion, coordinated by the Regional Education Directorate with support from World Food Programme, is meant to appreciate the French government for their contribution in providing nutrition for school-going children.
I'm here to see how the food programs are managed in Central River region, to report to my authorities and have an idea of how it's done in the field. And I'm very happy to see, well, of course, the very good welcome I received everywhere here in the region. We have visited 2 villages and 2 schools, 4 places.
Medina Basic Cycle School in the Central River Region North is the latest beneficiary of the school meal initiative launched by the UN World Food Programme, which is moving to gradually hand over school feeding programs to the Gambia government.
WFP will phase out and the Gambians run the school feeding by themselves. One of the approach is what is called homegrown school feeding. We are now giving cash to schools, and school buy locally produced food products, rice, beans, fish, what else? Onion, all these vegetables, also chickens and other condiments.
The idea is to strengthen the education sector with a sustainable approach. The management emphasizes the importance attached to the school feeding program.
Strategies will be put in place to make sure that this did not stop, because it has definitely given us the strength, especially when it comes to CRR North. When you look at the development indicator, CRR is really lacking behind. And this food being given to children is very, very important. It contributes to the enrollment of children in school. It contributes to the attendance and then retention of children, particularly the girls.
Authorities across the region describe the move as a significant contributor to education and effective nutrition.
Government is doing all it can, but again also government has to extend its hands to development partners. So that is where we also need the support of development partners, and that is why I have also further requested from the French delegates to also consider, a continuous support, because what motivates me more is
even this support they are doing, the way and manner in which it is done, the children are utilizing produces that are produced in the country.
The school feeding program plays a crucial role in promoting education quality, allaying an essential need for children. The World Food Program is now looking at a new approach, encouraging the use of locally produced vegetables to sustain school feeding programs. Moudlamin Sane reporting for GRTS News from the Central River region.
To the Upper River region now, where the Social Safety Net project is helping the most vulnerable communities to build a strong household resilience for any unforeseeable natural catastrophe like the global COVID-19 pandemic. Recently, officials of the National Nutrition Agency, with support from the Department of Social Welfare and the Directorate of Community Development, visited beneficiaries of the Social Safety Net project across the country for the disbursement of monthly cash payment. Baba Sila traveled with the delegation, and he reports on the impact the project is having on the beneficiary communities.
Social Safety Net project is transforming the lives and livelihoods of many vulnerable communities across the country as nutrition and social welfare officials expand the implementation of the World Bank and Gambia government-funded project financed at a tune of $31 million. Leading the monthly disbursement of money to the most vulnerable communities is the National Nutrition Agency, which joined forces with the Department of Social Welfare and Director of Community Development to implement the scheme. The implementing officials recently wrapped up the second phase of the monthly payment, reaching out to all beneficiaries in 17 districts across the country.
So every 2 months we give them cash, and also we are into social and behavioral change communication so that the household members or the communities that are benefiting from the program will adopt desirable behaviors. That is to say, they will change behaviors that are not desirable, at least to behaviors that are desirable, so that at least they will have, their living conditions will be improved. They will move from where they are to a desired level.
One woman who is significantly transforming her life through the initiative is Tako Balde, a native of Yarabawol village in the Upper River region. The old woman is now generating her daily income through a small provision shop she established from the monthly cash payment of $3,000.
This project helps me set up my own provision shop, and I hope all the beneficiaries will also invest so that even when the project phases out, they can be able to help themselves.
Ajasona Mariana, another beneficiary and native of Sarangai, Sandu District, Upper River region, is also venturing into local manufacturing, investing the revenue she earns from the project. She explained how she started the business and how the cash flow is helping to enhance her livelihood since she started earning monthly payments from the project. The project is rolled out in 4 components, namely entrepreneurship training, good family upbringing, and good nutritional diet for families, particularly pregnant women. As the 18-month scheme takes root, officials are optimistic that it will transform the lives of the most vulnerable and support communities to build strong resilience for sustainable income. Bawa Sila, GRTS.
Moving on. A silver jubilee of marked achievements put the Trust Bank on a committed path to leadership in banking. A new logo rebrands the bank as it celebrates 25 years of excellence in the financial sector. Senabuja Njane was there as she files in this report.
Bank's Managing Director, Njilan Senghor, described 25 years of excellence as a big achievement for staff and customers, pointing out successes which include the launching of a new corporate identity.
As we celebrate our 25th anniversary, we will also launch our new corporate logo to help drive us forward into the future. I can say with total conviction that I have never been so confident and excited about our future as I am today. Trust Bank is a market leader. However, in a world where nothing stands still, we operate in an environment with more intense competition and higher consumer expectations than ever before. In order to maintain our position as a leading bank in the Gambia and to continue to grow, it is now more important than ever that we refocus and reaffirm our position in the marketplace through a brand new identity. better communications, and a tireless commitment to serve our customers better than ever before by leveraging on technology and a renewed focus on compliance and governance as key enablers.
Speaking on their achievement, Board of Governor Franklin Hayford said a new era of banking has launched since the bank's inception in 1997.
Our cherished assets, our staff, has grown into a family of 400 from the 124 that Trust Bank inherited from Meridian in 1997. In 1997, we inherited slightly over 6,400 customers from Meridian. Today we can boast of over 200,000 customers. This feat has been achieved through expansionist strategy we embarked upon, which has seen our network branch increase from 3 to 18 branches during the same period. In the area of technology, we have implemented cutting-edge IT systems to cater for our growth in our operation. We used Oracle FlexCube to be the best option, and in 2005 rolled out FlexCube 6.0 and later upgraded it to FlexCube 12.2 in 2014. In terms of financial performance, we have achieved monumental strides in growing our business by gaining significant market share and delivering mind-blowing levels of growth.
The Deputy Governor for the Central Bank, Paul Mendy, said Trust Bank has been steadfast in advancing major dividends in the country's socio-economic development.
As the banking industry is rapidly evolving, the Central Bank continues to roll out policies designed to create an enabling environment for increased efficiency and technological adoption. The Central Bank has developed a regulatory framework that is conducive to such growth, including the soon-to-be-released corporate governance guidelines, the risk management framework for financial institutions, as well as the outsourcing guidelines.
The Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, C.D. Keita, said the growth of the bank has been unprecedented and greatly touches the livelihoods of customers and a cross-section of the Gambian society as they extended aid to flash flood victims.
The government of His Excellency Adama Barrow has created an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And it is pleasing for us as government to see that the Trust Bank is leveraging on these advantages. Despite these advantages, we will be challenging the bank to transform itself into a giant financial institution whose activities will transcend the borders of the Gambia. The management, board, and staff of the bank should take this 25 years anniversary to take stock and reposition the bank to a new and higher heights and leverage on the technologies that are available so that the bank will be a financial institution to reckon with.
Various artists graced the event to entertain special guests invited to the momentous Silver Jubilee. The bank ended the night with recognition and rewards to its staff and partners involved in financial sector, showing gratitude for their efforts and commitment.
Don't walk it on try. It's supposed to be jai. You look copy I say my love, I say we don't mind. When I got that answer, on the sofa, so far so good. Kiss your super like kiss you. You wanna
For that report by Zainabu Janet takes us to our first commercial break. The news continues in just a moment.
Of the West African Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Exhibition WAMSME between the Gambia and Nigeria. The sub-regional event will be held at the National Trade Fair grounds around Brusubi Turntable from the 12th to 20th October 2022. Products to be exhibited are strictly made in the Gambia and Nigeria and will include foods and condiments, art and craft, pharmaceuticals, agricultural commodities, cosmetics, leather and leather products, footwear, electrical cables, garments and apparel, confectionaries, spices, solid minerals, chemicals, amongst others. This platform is facilitated by the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency GAIPA, the Nigerian High Commission in the Gambia, and is proudly funded by the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, and the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. Renowned Gambian and Nigerian artists will also perform at the fair. Come one, come all.
Are you a photographer? Show us how you see the strong Gambian woman. The mom, the worker, the athlete, the leader. Take a picture using your very own creativity for a chance to win $15,000. This competition is open to both amateur and professional photographers. Join the AFRISA Women Empowerment Photography Competition. Send your picture by email to promo@afrisa.gm. or presented in person at the AFRISOL headquarters on Cairo Avenue. AFRISOL, the Gambia's leading network.
Welcome back, and now to sports, where the National Assembly member for Fonyi Councillor, Honorable Almame Jiba, together with the community of Councillor, has successfully staged the first edition of the Fonyi Councillor Marathon. The event brought together athletes in the area to compete in the exercise aimed at promoting youth solidarity through sports, fostering brotherhood, friendship, and reconciliation. Sheikh Juf has more on that.
The first edition of the Fonyi Councillor Marathon Run, organized to mobilize youth solidarity. Ramatulai Bari won the 3-kilometer female race and scooped a gold medal, certificate and cash prize, while Musa Kujabi led the 5-kilometer male category with a clean finish in the spectacular run, launching the Fonyi Councillor Marathon.
The race was nice, and it was superb, in fact.
Yeah, I am very happy. Everything is determination. Yes, because of I heard of it, I say I will train for it and I will make it, and then I determined that I will make it.
Honorable Almame Jiba urged young people to unite and come together to inspire meaningful change.
The purpose of organizing this event is to make sure I avail the youths in an area of sports, especially more so athletics. This is an event that is not much recognized in the Fonyis, more so Councillor. We are more into the football game, but I deem it fit to make sure I could also consolidate the effort of the youths. All the participants who have gathered today leave their whole islands, women, youthful, elders. I am saying to you a great thank you, and I believe it is time for us to unite. It is time for us to be together. It is time for us to stand firm, to make sure we stand firm to support that Councillor, that Fonyi, that Gambia. Individually, collectively, we will stand to make a change.
Certificates were awarded to all participants who competed in the Fonyi Councillor Marathon Run 2022. Sheikh Juf, reporting for Jata Sports.
That's the news, but before we end this edition of the news, a recap of our headline-making stories. The International Monetary Fund gives an optimistic assessment of the Gambia economy despite the challenges faced by the post-pandemic recovery efforts and the ongoing conflict in Eastern Europe. U.S. Ambassador at Large hails the Gambia's transition justice process. Trust Bank celebrates 25 years of excellence in the financial sector with colorful Silver Jubilee reception for customers. Away from home, Iran's supreme leader accuses U.S. Israel of being behind the nationwide protest. Well, viewers, that was all we had time for in this edition of the news at 2000 hours. But do join me at 2200 hours for more news. Until then, do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.